I just want to share with you some things that I've been shown over the years, and um, and I believe it's really relevant today because God is putting together um, His body in this hour in a way that is, let's just say that traditional religion has not understood the relationship within the body of what you would call leadership and well, I guess you'd call the rest of the body. And I hesitate to use the word leadership because it is so misunderstood by people when it regards to the way that God works in the lives of people. The way that God desires to work in the lives of His people is not through a hierarchical relationship with a titled person that we can trust because they've been given a title, have secured the approval of a system that makes them safe for people to engage with. And now, those are not bad things. I'm not dissing anything that we have already experienced and walked in because we have walked through things in our life for a reason, and many of those reasons are for us learning to recognize and understand the great love that God has for all of us, and recognize that regardless of our weaknesses, our strengths, our pasts, God loves every single one of us. And so when I share these things, I want you to know that I'm not sharing it because I am attempting to dismantle what has been. I am more concerned with us stepping into what God, as a revelation and reality of love, is bringing us into. Now, Jesus, at one point, there was a transition in his relationship with his disciples. And he said, I no longer call you servants, I call you friends. And Jesus was serious. I believe it was fully serious that he wanted to relate to his uh, disciples as friends. And and then he also showed his servant heart in their friendship, and that he washed their feet and served them, and said, now the greatest among you must do this. And he said, and among the Gentiles, those that are, in positions of authority, lord over others. He says, but it should not be so among you. And now I have to say, uh, while the structure within the church system, in my opinion, is not, as it regards our physical existence, it has been helpful with people. It has taken care of those that have needs, and it has fulfilled a purpose for a time. But we're coming into a place now where the relationships within the kingdom are not based upon the approval of institutions that we have come used to know, but it comes based upon the reality that God has called us His friends, God has called us His children, and we relate to each other now. Whether you're a priest or a parishioner, whether you're a pastor, whether you're, whether you're working whether you live in a monastery, whatever your relationship or whatever your uh, station that you are in, the way that God is wanting to have us relate to each other is as friends. And we receive the blessings of the grace that God has given another as a friend. And we receive those graces and we release those graces as a serving of each other. And that means that even if someone is a great leader, let's say that they um, have been given much understanding from God, and they're releasing that understanding, whether it be in whatever arena that is, financial, um, you know, healing, uh, many different ways spiritually that God is leading people in these days. We receive these things in a relationship of love and friendship from others. It is not something that we receive as a, oh, follow me or else type of attitude, or else you're missing God. That's not how the Father is working in this hour. The way that the Father is working in this hour is he's releasing spiritual power and intel through relationships of love and friendship. And it doesn't mean that you can't receive things through old paradigm relationship situations. It does not, I'm not saying that that's not the case. But we are transitioning, and that transitioning means that we have grace upon each other when feel like we are lost and saying, "Well, Father, things are not the way that I thought they should be or expected them to be. I'm beginning to walk independently in life with you, and I'm not needing a leader or a teacher to rule over me in a way that gives me direction as to how to please God." But now our relationships are individually with the Father, and in that individual relationship of union with the Father, now we engage with all others on the basis that we are engaging with Christ and what Christ is releasing through an individual. And so when I accept something as being from the Father through another person, I'm literally accepting Christ and what he is providing for me through that relationship, through that friendship. And there are many things, at times and situations where I even receive things that may seem negative as a gift from God in order for me to be more conformed to the love that God is. Everything that happens in our life is for the purpose of learning to love. And we may not like it, but the reality is that God is love. And the relationships of love and friendship that he is establishing in this day and this hour are the relationships that will stand in the midst of a storm, are the relationships that will stand in the midst sometimes when we're feeling doubt and fear and we don't know which way to turn, but God has provided for us the relationships of friendships for us to be encouraged and lifted up, and that we might together be able to stand and stand sometimes even when there's uh, things that are challenging, whether it be COVID problems or financial issues, there's international issues or issues that are going on in your city, your state, your family, your friends. God is there because he wants to establish love relationships between all of us, and that all people, all those we know and love and all those we may not know well, might learn to function relationally in love, in friendship, that we might all receive what it is that Christ has for us through the relationships that we have created in whatever capacity or function that we're in, whether we're seated in the councils of heaven or we're uh, hanging out with a friend in our backyard at a barbecue. This is the reality of the kingdom. It's not about these institutions and the way that they do things. These are not anything that we condemn or judge, but what we say is that God is bringing us all into a place of recognition of our relationship as brothers and sisters, as friends, in relationship to God, in a relationship where God is revealing his love and his goodness through each of us to each other. Anyway, blessings. This is Chris. We'll talk to you later.